Hey everyone, I am going to talk today about frames and foundation. It was something I mentioned in my video about equipment, and it is an essential piece of equipment for beekeepers. So I want to show you what those things are and talk you through some of the options that you have. So here is a frame, outside part, and then the foundation is going to be this black part. So I like to use this type of foundation because this type of foundation is a little bit harder. So it's a hard plastic, and I feel like it gives the bees a really good base for their comb. So this is the part that your bees are going to draw their comb out on. Then they'll come back in. The queen will lay eggs here. They'll put nectar in, pollen, everything that they need, a place to store. So I purchased these from a company called Premier Bee. And you can see that little wax right here. These are triple dipped or double dipped. It just depends really what my mood was when I purchased, but I always buy either double or triple dipped, and that means that it's been dipped in wax 2 or 3 times. If you give your bees just a plain piece of this plastic with no wax coating on it, they will ignore it. They will not work on that. So you've got to give them plastic foundation that has some wax on it in order for them to get started. So I like this setup, and I believe the last time I went to Woodworkers Beekeeping Supply in Abingdon, he was starting to carry this. So if that's a place where you're considering, purchasing some of your equipment from, it might be worth asking. I prefer this because it's sturdy and it's easier for me to work with. Now, the other option that you've got for foundation is something called crimped wire foundation. I actually could not find a frame that had crimped wire foundation that was not already in a hive. And I'll be honest with you, I don't really have a ton of those left in my hives. I have tried to phase them out as I was able to, because to me, it was difficult to work with as a new beekeeper. So I'll put up a picture and show you what crimped wire foundation looks like, but crimped wire is a really thin sheet, so it's the same size. It's a thin sheet of beeswax, and it has little wires running through it at intervals, and you pinch that in between this frame right here. There's a little bar that you use, and it pinches it in between there, and it holds it on here, and that's what the bees work then, and that's what they draw their comb on. So the reason I don't personally like it is because, number one, it was hard for us to work with. We found ourselves tearing a lot of the pieces or a lot of the sheets because it is a pretty fragile sheet, I feel like. Now, your experience and other beekeepers obviously will have different experiences with that, but for me, it just wasn't an easy product to work with. So the other and biggest reason I really didn't like it, and this could have totally been user error for me, but when I put those frames into the hives and it got warm, and even sometimes if it didn't get warm, just the way they were in the frames, they bowed out. So you would have one side of your, instead of having a straight up and down piece, you had just a little bit of a curve, and it ended up that the bees would draw comb on the side that was curved in, and they didn't really want to draw comb on this side because it was too close to the frame next to it. Just wasn't something that really worked well for us. I also had a lot of instances where the bees would kind of chew out that wax that was on the crimped wire, and then they wouldn't fill it back in with their wax and comb. So it was just kind of a big empty spot in those frames. So I just personally have found this to be a better solution. We use mostly these wooden frames. Now you can buy these pre-assembled, or you can assemble them yourself. It just depends on how much time you've got and how, what kind of equipment you've got supply wise. It's not hard to put them together. It takes a little bit of time. David and I kind of make an assembly line. We put together a lot of our own frames just because it's more economical to buy them, considering how many we need sometimes. So this is a medium frame. So let me show you a deep frame. So here they are compared. So I wanted to show you this because this is something that we just started using last year and I really like it so far. This is a one-piece plastic frame from a company called Acorn Bee, and as you can tell, it is definitely wax dipped. I have been told by the representatives from that company that this is the same foundation as this black Premier foundation. So I talked to those reps at the Bee Expo in Louisville last year, and that's kind of where we heard about this product. So I wanted to try this out. So far, I really like it. The bees have no trouble drawing on this foundation. It's been great. The reason I wanted to try this out is because of the plastic. There are some times that these frames, and it's not often, but every now and then you'll have one of these frames where this top bar kind of pops off, and I just thought I might try this plastic one to see how that worked out. It's all one piece together, so there's not a place, for it to break apart, I guess. So far so good on that, so I will report back. But this is, as far as I know, to purchase these, you have to order online. So we purchased directly from Acorn, and I bought a lot of them at one time. So if you had a buddy you wanted to go in with or something like that, you wanted to try this, or you wanted to, purchase a lot, it would be maybe worth giving it a look. But I did want to mention that in case anybody wanted to try those out as well. So as far as how many frames you would need to purchase if you are getting yourself set up for as a first-time beekeeper, you're going to want 5 additional deep frames to fill up the deep brood box that you are going to put your nuke frames in. So you'll bring 5 frames from your nuke, 5 new frames with just the foundation. Those will go outside of your frames that the bees have already worked, and that's going to be what your bees start to build on and grow out. Then you'll need to decide, and I hope that you have already decided because we've discussed in a couple of other videos, you'll need to decide if you plan to add an additional brood box onto your bees. If you do plan to add additional boxes, then you'll want to purchase 10 more frames based on the size of the box that you plan to add to your bees. So I've talked before, I like to purchase mediums to go on top of the deep brood boxes. My medium is another brood box. In the winter, it becomes a place where, and in the fall, it's filled more with honey so that the bees have, a little more storage for their honey and food over the winter. So you'll want to purchase 10 additional frames to fill that box up once you're ready to add on that second box. In my opinion, it's much easier to just go ahead and kind of purchase all of that at one time. I have been guilty many times of saying, oh, I'll pick that up, a little bit later, or whenever, I go back the next time, and then it sneaks up on me and the bees are ready for equipment before I have it. So hopefully that helps, and make sure that you